Good evening, everyone. My name is Arnav Mishra, and today I would like to talk about something that is often overlooked when we discuss artificial intelligence. Not just what AI can do, but how we imagine AI. When most of us hear the word AI, we may immediately think of humanoid robots, machine taking over human jobs, or perhaps an extremely intelligent system capable of solving humanity's biggest problem. But where do these ideas come from? They come not only from science and technology, but also from films, literatures, news, media, and advertisement, popular culture stories that we tell about intelligent machines. This is the central concern of the Royal Society report, Portrayals and Perception of AI and Why They Matter. The AI Narratives Project brought together more than 150 experts through four workshops between 2017 and 18 to examine how AI is portrayed, how people perceive it, and why these perceptions matter. So, what exactly is an AI narrative? A narrative is essentially a collection of stories, images, events, and cultured representations through which we can make sense of something. In the case of AI, these narratives can be fictional, such as science fictional films, or non fictional, such as news reports and scientific communication. The important point is that narratives do not simply entertain us, they can influence how the ordinary people think, what they expect, and what they fear, and ultimately how the society responds to technology. One of the strongest patterns identified in the report is a tendency to portray AI in human form. Think about robots we commonly see in popular culture. They often have human faces, human bodies, or even have a human emotions. There is a reason for this. Humans naturally use themselves as a reference point when we imagine intelligence. Moreover, films, televisions require characters that audiences can recognize and emotionally connect with. Therefore, giving AI a human body makes the technology easier to represent and understand. But this often creates a problem. When AI is constantly represented as human like robots, people may begin to associate AI with capabilities that current AI systems do not actually possess. The report identifies another major characteristics, that is extremes. AI is frequently represented as either as technology that will solve enormous human problems or as technology that will destroy the humanity. On one side, we find narratives about AI eliminating diseases, freeing humans from work and transforming society. But on the other side, we find fears of humans becoming obsolete, losing control over the machine, or even being destroyed by them. The report argues that perceived control is particularly important in determining whether people develop positive or negative attitudes towards AI. This brings us to perhaps the most important argument of the report. There can be a disconnect between narratives surrounding AI and the actual state of AI technology. Many public narratives focus also on technologies that may be decades away, or even on possibilities that never became the reality. At the same time, this focus can distract us from the problem that already exists. For example, instead of concentrating on whether robots will replace humanity, we should also be discussing issues like algorithmic bias, accuracy in decision making, digital infra, and human agency. This disconnect can produce two opposite problems. Exaggerate optimism can often create a hype If society expects AI to achieve extraordinary things immediately, failure to meet those expectations can damage public trust. But exaggerate fear can also be harmful. If policymakers respond to fictional or unrealistic fears, they may create regulation that unnecessarily restrict innovation. On the other hand, ignoring legitimate concerns because of excessive optimism can allow technologies to develop without adequate safeguards. The report therefore suggests that we need something in between hype and fear. We need narratives that communicate possibility together with uncertainty. In other words, we should be able to say, this is what AI can currently do, this is what it may potentially do, and these are the things we still do not know. This is especially important because uncertainty is not the same as ignorance. Acknowledging uncertainty can actually make public discussions more responsible and informed. The reports recommend creating compelling narratives that remain faithful to scientific evidence while acknowledging social and technological uncertainty. There is another important issue: whose voices are included in AI narratives. The report discusses what it calls narrative injustice. Some groups are less likely to create AI narratives, some are less likely to appear as protagonists, and some narratives reproduce existing stereotype and biasness. This means that the problem is not simply that we have too many stories about AI. The problem is that many of the stories come from relatively narrow range of perspective. Therefore, reshaping AI narratives also requires bringing more diverse voices into the discussion. And this led to the report's final important idea, which is dialogue. Instead of allowing AI narratives to be created only by technological companies, filmmakers, journalists, scientists, we need spaces where research and public can actually communicate with each other. The report highlights public dialogue as a way of allowing new stories and perspectives to emerge. It also points out that people often evaluate AI differently depending on the context. That they want to know what the technology is being used for, who benefits from it, and why is this necessary. So, what we should take away from this? The question is not whether we should be optimistic or pessimistic about AI. The better question is, are our narratives about AI accurate enough to help society to make good decisions? AI will undoubtedly influence our future, but the way we imagine the future will also influence how we regulate AI, how we invest in it, how much we trust it, and who gets to participate in shaping it. Therefore, we need to move beyond a simple image of AI as either a perfect savior or a dangerous machine. We need narratives that are evidence based, transparent about uncertainty, socially diverse, and connected to real world applications. Because ultimately, AI does not develop in isolation. We build the technology, but our society helps determine how society understands, accepts, regulates, and uses it. Thank you for listening. See you in the next video.